Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next video on the Practical Weapons channel. Today I want to discuss the ways and the methods and the types of the safety available to us in the US on the handguns. And I think I have most of them present on the table. Most of the types at least, not most of the guns. Obviously that would be impossible. Why do I want to cover this topic on my channel? Because for each purpose, for each person, preferences, and for each situation, there might be a need of a different safety or recommendation of a certain minimum safety or gun model matching that configuration. And of course, I'm going to leave the choices to you, but I just want to make sure that you're aware of all the possibilities on the market. Let's start with the strikers. And as you can see on the table, I have 5 of the more or less common strikers on the table. I do not have a Glock on the table right now, because that is basically the same as the M&P Core, the non-safety gun. The only safeties on a Glock are the same as on a Smith & Wesson, such as my Glock 19 here. Internal safety and the safety system on the trigger, the same as M&P. And of course all the guns have been safety checked, chamber checked. The only safety is on the M&P Pro Core on the trigger, in addition to the internal ones, of course. So that is our minimum safety, which means anything that gets into the trigger or into the trigger guard can, by accident, pull the trigger and get the bullet flying, if the gun is loaded, of course. Admittedly, for different situations, guns should be carried with the chamber loaded with a round or not. If you're carrying concealed, carrying without a round in the chamber is pointless. You simply might not have that time to rock the slide. It's simple as that. So going from there, we can put the basic safety model off to one side. And now let's take a look at one of our first hammer guns, which is a revolver. And in my case, of course, it's my Smith & Wesson 66-6 Performance Center. Not a carry gun, doesn't have any safeties. The only safety is in the hand of the shooter. Of course, it has some safety for the hammer drop, but there is nothing that is going to prevent somebody from just pulling the trigger and firing off. The only difference is, of course, single action, which is very light trigger, versus double action. So the safety in this case is the double action. The effort and the energy required to pull the trigger and cock the hammer for the fire. So that is our basic model in the hammer pistols and revolvers, being as it is. The next pistol is another striker, Walther PPQ. Also almost exactly the same model as the Glock. Here's the safety system on the trigger and nothing else as far as external safeties go. So it goes into the same pile of what you would consider in a very simple situation. In other words, these are the guns when the person knows that the trigger and the trigger guard are protected. They're in the holster. The finger is not going in there. These are not going to be the guns laying in a bag or something where anything can get in the trigger guard. And the next on the hammer guns is my SP01. And of course, it is checked. Right now I have a very heavy recoil spring in it. I'm testing DTM recoil springs in there, so it's hard to pull. Okay, so on this gun, we don't have a trigger safety, but we do have an external safety lever on the frame, which means if the gun is loaded with a round, let's imagine there's a round in the chamber, the hammer is cocked, you can put it on safe, which means that your first round will require for you to disengage that safety, but it's going to be a very light trigger pull, allowing for excellent accuracy. It's probably one of the oldest models of safeties. One of my favorite, to be honest with you, because a nice large safety, but it's not a carry gun. Next is going to be the weird one, and this is my Janik TP9 SA, which is a Turkish clone of Walther P99AS in many ways. It has the safety the same as a Glock, has that lever on the trigger without which you won't be able to pull it, but it also has a decocker on a striker, which means if I press it right now, nothing will happen. So in reality, this safety is strange from perspective of you have a single action gun with a round up the chamber. You will have to cock it to be able to fire. You just lost your first round. So is it a safety? I don't know. But it's nice for disassembly of the gun. So something to consider if you want to carry a Janik, if they ever release a compact one. I don't know if I would. The trigger is very light. It's a very accurate gun, very nice gun, but carrying it? If you carry a Glock, you could. But the trigger is lighter than the Glock, considerably. It's probably comparable to the PPQ, maybe even lighter. And PPQ is one great striker. So something to consider if you own this gun and you plan to use the decocker as a safety mechanism. You will lose one round, you will need to chamber, which in my mind, not a carry gun option with the decocked model. Next one is the famous 1911. So obviously this is my Springfield 1911, and being a single action gun, just like the TP9 SA, it has to be cocked to fire. The hammer has to be cocked. It won't fire otherwise. And it has external safety, and more than one. It has the safety on the side, and it has the lever here. So for example, let's say the external safety is off, but nothing is squeezing the grip safety. However, the grip safety is squeezed. You have basically two safeties. And personally, I like this model. I know not everybody does, because it does add additional motion, and under stress sometimes you don't get it. But I've carried 1911 for quite a while. Not this one, I have a carry version. This thing is 40 ounces heavy without ammo. So nothing here. So this is that model. Now we go to one of the strikers with external safety, and this is actually one of my current summer carry guns. As you know, it's hot in the summer, so I want to carry something small. Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. I specifically bought the model with a safety. So even if you want a striker, but you want additional safety of external safety, as weird as that sounds, you do have options. And in fact, I'm going to show 3 different guns that have safety being a striker. So gun number 1, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. It has the safety on the trigger. It has external safety. That's double the safety if you need to. So chamber it up, load the full mag, put the safety on, even if it's in your holster or anywhere else. This gun will not fire unless the safety is disengaged. And by accident, disengaging this safety is very, very hard. And believe me, I tried. Not everybody's choice. A lot of people like guns with no safeties. That is your choice. My choice is to have a safety and to practice for it. Now, one note. For many of these guns, being a southpaw or left-handed person will make it hard to disengage the safety. Get an ambidextrous gun, or get a gun that's configured for the left side if you want to use the safety. Next gun on the list is Neck Striker, and then we'll go back to the hammer pistols, which is the Springfield XDM 3.8. It does not have a frame safety, however it has a grip safety. If you're a big fan of 1911s, maybe you will like it. I'm still testing it myself. I like this thing for the capacity. It's huge capacity. And I like it for the accuracy and a very nice trigger. So you have two safeties on this gun: trigger and grip. However, again, the same situation. If you're a lefty, remember, you don't need anything, any additional motion like on M&P Shield. Because even if you're a lefty, by squeezing the grip and by pulling the trigger, it will fire. And the last, just to show a gun I wasn't planning to use, but it's particularly useful for people that shoot with the left hand, and that gun is FNS 9C and FNS series in general. As you can see, a lot of operational controls are ambidextrous. So let's say I'm going to chamber check, put the safety on, and at one point, let's say I need to use it with my left hand. Left hand disengages the safety just as well. You do need practice for it, so it is a little bit less comfortable, more motion than the XDM, but both of these guns with the safety disengaged work fine for the southpaws. So these are your southpaw guns, XDMs and FNs. Next gun let's take a look at is the different approach to safety. And I'm going to show two guns that do this. One of them is the world famous, without any question. What gun is this? This is my Sig Sauer P226. Mine is a 40 caliber. I don't shoot it much at all. At one point I'll probably get a 9mm. It does not have a safety. This is a double action only gun, so it has a decocker lever. So the safety on this gun is the extra power required to cock the hammer. And the spring in this thing is quite strong. So you can do single action by releasing, or you can release and get double action. So this is a more safe mode. You want more accuracy, get the hammer back, cocked, and you can fire. It is extremely accurate. So it's not a double action only gun per se, obviously. Double action only guns are strikers. In essence, those are the double action guns. So that's one model of a safety without safety. Without a safety operation per se, only by doing the trigger. And in some ways it's similar to one of my carry guns, which is a CZ75 compact. It has a decocking lever. However, unlike the SIG, which will decock to almost complete position, as you can see, the CZ decocks to half cocked position. So you see, here is the 0, here is the fully cocked, and here is the decock. So it lightens the trigger for that first shot. So it's not as heavy as a complete empty shot, completely double action. So the half cock model I like. And you can see there is more travel. It reduces the trigger travel as well. One of my favorite guns, FYI. And again, if you want, any of these guns can be reviewed on this channel. I haven't considered doing all of them, but can be. Most likely I'm probably going to cover collections of guns because I have certain groups been collecting for a while. And the last gun in this video, because time is running out, is the steel from Israel. This is an old Desert Eagle pistol. In essence, this is a Jericho 941 before they got named Jericho. This is a 45 ACP model, made in Israel. The safety, that is also a decocker. In other words, you can cock the hammer. You can fire single action, double action. However, at any moment, you can put the safety on. It is slide mounted safety, so the new models have frame mounted safeties, if you like that. And the trigger is completely empty, there's nothing going on. Even if this thing is cocked, by putting the gun on safety, it acts both as safety and decocker. Returns the trigger. And of course, to fire from this position, you will end up releasing the safety and getting a double action shot. So this is the last type of safety that is available on handguns that I know of. If there are other kinds, let me know. I couldn't think of them. Literally. Unless you consider the non-safety guns, such as this. No safety whatsoever. No single action only, no safety. And that is, of course, a Russian Tokarev pistol, one of my collection. So if you like that, that's up to you. I wouldn't. On this note, I'm going to finish this video. I hope this gave you some information. If you like these kinds of videos, comment, like. Please subscribe so I would be able to communicate to more of you and more than just the 130 people on this channel. I want to catch this channel up to my other Russian channel, which has almost 8,500 subscribers at this time. Of course, I speak Russian on that channel. And no, it's not a fake Russian accent. I spent, at this point, slightly over a third of my life in Russia. This is where I was born. And bring over here a lot of weird notions about guns, I guess. Maybe, maybe not. I think they're quite common in this country, and I like it. So, comment, practice, and as you know, practice makes perfect. So practice more and be practical. Thank you very much.